Danica, 1 second. I'll bring Doug on so you can at least say hi.
Okay.
Hi, Doug.
Hi, Doug.
Hello, Danica.
How was?
Yeah, there's Danica. She's.
How was
We've done the
how
first
was
one,
the first
only
one?
23 to go.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. 1 down. We're over 27,000 now, Doug. So you're doing a great job.
Good.
I'm going to be.
How was the opening? Has the opening happened?
Yeah, they just did it. They just opened it.
They're just getting ready to do the ribbon cutting in just a second. Charlie McCurdy was just on stage. Governor Sisolak is here, and some other members. Steve Hill with the LVCVA. So we've got quite a camera crew over here, and it's a big deal.
And are you getting Nancy on as well?
I'm hoping, but she's in the middle of, I think, just getting on stage, so it might have to be me at 10
interrupt her
o'clock.
live.
Nancy's on the stage, Doug. So she may be back for the 10 o'clock hour when Danica's back. She's going to try to grab her then, but right now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to let Danica go.
Okay.
Hi, Danica. And then
Good luck.
and then bring on Herve, Tommy, and Roger. 1 second. Bye, Danica. Okay, Tommy Goodwin, Herve. We're going to say a quick hello to you guys. These guys are going to be on the charity panel.
Hello,
hi, guys.
Doug.
Can you hear?
It's good. I just had a loosening up. 23 to go.
Excellent. You're
great,
smiling.
and we're going to read on some more people.
Very nice. You got a great sponsor there, I see.
So, Rachel, we got virtual runners coming on as well.
Yes, exactly. Tommy and Herve, I'm going to take you off a bit so we can, if you guys could log back on in like 2 minutes, because I've got to bring the virtual runners on. Do you mind? Okay, just log right back in about 2 minutes.
No, don't. So you want us to hang on?
Yes, please. Okay, Tom. There's Tom. Here's your virtual runner, Doug.
Tom, how you doing?
Tom Mitchell.
Tom,
hi, Tom.
Good deal yesterday.
Hey, what's going on?
Mr. Detroit.
Mr. Detroit. Yeah, congratulations to you and Martha and Claude and everybody. Marty, great deal.
Thank you. Yeah.
Doug's finished his first 5K, Tom.
Nice job, Doug. I'm about to join you on my leg, so looking forward to it.
Okay, cool.
Great.
Beautiful day in Vegas for it.
Okay, and we'll introduce the other runners. We've got Simon Foster. Here we go. Simon.
Hi, Simon.
Hey, how you doing?
Have a great run. Thanks for being here.
Oh, we've got Trevor again. Come on, Trevor. He's eating.
Come on, Trevor. Hi, Trevor. Thanks for being here.
We've got
awesome.
We've got Simon KImble. Here we go.
Simon KImble. Hey. Hi, Simon. Great.
All right.
All right, great. Okay, take care. Have a good run. Bye-bye. All right, Tom, have a great run. Bye-bye.
He's instructed me to
Okay. So now, hi Roger. Hi David.
Hello. How are you?
This is live as we go here, because I have to keep switching people on and off, and you can't get everybody on the screen at once. So I had to have a couple people leave and come back on so we could say hello to the runners. So sorry about that delay there. How's everybody doing?
We're doing well, thank you.
Wonderful.
Good. Herve is going to come back on in just a second. But for our live audience, I just want to let everybody know I'm going to do a quick catch up here, if you don't mind. We are up over $27,000 on this so far. We just saw we just saw Doug go live. He is on his second 5K. We were also just live in, sorry, I got to bring Herve on. 1 second, please. We were also just live in Las Vegas, and we saw, there we go. Sorry, Herve. Can you see me, Herve?
Good morning. No problem.
Good morning. Hold on one second. Let me get everybody here. Okay, there we go. We see everybody now. Thank you. Live, here we are live, and this is all how it happens. So we were just in Las Vegas with Danica. We saw the ribbon cutting for the World of Concrete. So you guys, the biggest show since, this has all happened, just opened in Las Vegas. They actually opened the doors at 9:30, but they did the ribbon cutting. They opened the West Hall, and it was really exciting. So, and Doug just ran his first 5K. He's off on his second. I was saying that we have $27,000 already raised. So I want to just first say thank you to you all for being here today. So we're going to be talking about advocacy. I'd like to introduce Roger Dow. Roger is the president and CEO of U.S. Travel. Hi, Roger. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Great. Thanks so much for being here. We also have David Audrain. He is the CEO of the Society of Independent Show Organizers. Thanks, David, for being here. We have Herve Sedky, who is the president and CEO of Emerald. Thank you for being here, Herve. And then we have Tommy Goodwin, who is the VP of Government Affairs for the Exhibitions and Conferences Alliance. So just to start off, Roger, I was hoping that you could tell us just overall, what is the state of the travel industry right now? Obviously we've gone through one heck of a time in the last year, but where are we right now?
Well, the state of the travel industry is we are, I believe, coming off and at the turning point of this pandemic, this medical crisis, but we also have an economic crisis. And when it talks about the economic and personal crisis, the travel industry's lost $500 billion. That translates into just the U.S. I'm talking just U.S. U.S. economy, 1.1 trillion. But the worst thing is the unemployed. We end up with fully half of the people in the travel industry were unemployed in the first 2 months of the pandemic. We still represent about 5 million unemployed in the US, and it's just as bad globally. And we have 65% of all the unemployed are here. So the state of the travel industry is domestic, is leisure is opening up and opening up very strongly, but we can't live off domestic leisure. We've got to get group, we've got to get conventions, we've got to get international. They represent 41% of the business and a third of the jobs.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it can't say enough, how important it is to get us restarted. Herve, we just saw the ribbon cutting for the World of Concrete opening. I know you have so many shows coming up for Emerald. Where are we as an industry right now, and how important is this restart for your organization?
This is really important, and we've been working now for months, as you know, trying to reopen and seeing light at the end of the tunnel with stage reopenings. Las Vegas is fully open, and New York and so forth. And a lot of shows coming up, 21 shows August alone. Wow. So a lot of shows. So it's very exciting to see the activity of World of Concrete, the largest show, a great opening. And we've been talking to, as you know, recently, the point about
And Herve, you're cutting out just a little bit. If we can't hear you, I think you've stopped a little bit. So Tommy, I think that he was starting to talk
about how important our industry is, perspective and so forth, but small business.
Yeah. So Tommy, maybe you could jump in here and talk a little bit about ICA. He's going to grab another connection probably. But ICA, has come out of the need that we had in our industry. So could you please just tell us a little bit about how that got started and where you all are now?
Right. Well, it's like Roger laid bare earlier. While we definitely have signs of recovery, there's still a long way to go. And we've been really hammering home the importance of helping to jumpstart our recovery with policymakers, whether that's folks nationwide or here in Washington, D.C. And so, thanks to the leadership of David Audrain and David Dubois and Herve and many others, the industry has come together for the first time, building off of what Exhibitions Mean Business has done and what Go Live Together campaign has done, and brought forward the Exhibitions and Conferences Alliance. And I have the very distinct honor of getting to be the permanent representative for all of you in all these conversations we're having with policymakers, because it's so critical. Like Roger laid out, for us, 2019, the business to business exhibition space was $101 million. Last year, 24. That's nearly 80% decline. We have to take steps to bring that back. And, through legislation we're supporting, like the Hospitality and Commerce Job Recovery Act, I think we're going to be well on our way to making sure that folks in Washington, D.C. and nationwide understand the importance of the industry in our recovery.
Yeah, it's David, can you please, jump in there as well? I know that you've had, quite a bit to do with ICA and what's going on there, and, what, the importance of having the exhibition, the event day that we had last week.
Yes, certainly. Good morning. As Tommy said, the Exhibitions and Conferences Alliance came about as a direct result of the COVID pandemic, but it's been in the building for many years, because the industry has worked together for a long time, but just with different focus points. The Legislative Action Day that happened in conjunction with the Global Exhibitions Day this past week is something that the IE started as Exhibitions Day 8 years ago, effectively advocating on behalf of the industry with support from many of us over that long term has gone forward. ECA came about basically as the initiative that started as Go Live Together, started by Freeman and supported by CISO and IE, and then the umbrella of the industry coming together under that initiative to advocate on behalf of the exhibitions and conferences industry. And it morphed into the Exhibitions and Conferences Alliance at the end of the year, once the steering group realized that, one, COVID was not going to be a short-term issue, and two, that it was not necessarily the last issue that we were going to have to address as an industry. And so ECA is now a permanent long-term umbrella organization that encompasses all aspects of the industry. So the for-profit show organizers, the non-profit show organizers, the venues, the destinations, even the service contractors, and even labor are all supporting ECA financially, and a broader base of the industry is supporting it from an effort perspective. And Herve not only runs one of the most important trade show companies in the world, but also happens to be CISO's current chair and the first chair of the Exhibitions and Conferences Alliance. So we appreciate the many hats that Herve is wearing for us right now.
Yes, I know that you've all been very, very busy, and Roger, I know that you've been extraordinarily busy, with on the travel side as well. Can you tell us, like, right now, what are the pressing issues for travel specifically? Like, what would you like to be top of mind, for the people listening, today, on things that you're trying to get pushed through?
The two most pressing issues are, one, to open up international, transatlantic, Asia. We cannot have an exhibitions industry without international attendance. Just can't. So that's very important. I was on a call just yesterday with the CEOs of the four big American airlines, British Airways, Virgin Atlantic, and Heathrow, talking about the need at the G7 for us to open up the corridor of UK, US. Now, we want to open them all up, but we think if we can get that one open, the rest will follow. The second issue is we have to get corporations, both the travel planners and the event planners, to let their people travel, and get their lawyers to back off and say, hey, they're going to get sick. 2 million people got on a plane every single day, and we have yet to trace one case to COVID. So it is safe to travel. And if we can open up international with vaccines or testing and various things, we can open up this industry. So that's the most pressing thing, is get this industry open.
Right.
And Rachel, I would tell you, I flew to a conference in Dubai last week, and was very happy to make that trip back in, and felt completely safe in the entire process. There were a number of, shall we say, administrative hoops that need to be worked out, and requirements that are unnecessary for fully vaccinated people, in my personal opinion. But Roger couldn't be more correct in that our industry needs international travel to be reopened in order for us to really be able to get back on our feet.
Right, and I know, David, you could speak to this because I was going to ask Herve about it just from a trade show, impact side. I mean, you ran an event in April for CISO where you had CEOs, come in, a couple hundred, CEOs from all over the United States and a handful of international. But what did they have to go through to get here, to be at the event, including Doug Emsley, who I know his story.
Well, as you said, the CISO CEO Summit is the largest gathering of C-level execs in our industry globally every year. And unfortunately, we had to cancel last year, right when everything locked down. And this year we were determined, and under Doug and Herve's leadership, we were committed to holding the CEO Summit in person, live, and we were extremely pleased with being able to do so and had a terrific response to the event. Unfortunately, typically more than a third of our attendees would come from outside the US, well over 100 people. This year we had 7. And those were the intrepid pioneers that managed to find their way through the regulatory hurdles of coming in, Doug being one of them, which created some serious challenges for them to be able to come in. Yeah, and that's the roadblocks that we need to get removed, because again, we had 0 traces of any infections coming out of our event. We had a very successful event, and the internationals were certainly happy to be there, and many, many more would have come if the hurdles had not been in place.
Yeah, and Herve, I know you dropped out for a second. We were just talking about the impact of, because Roger had said one of the pressing issues is international travel. Obviously there's a huge problem around international travel. Across your portfolio, what kind of impact, is the inability, to have, our country open at this point to international travel?
For us at Emerald, it represents about 10% of our revenues. So that's the impact from international. But there's a much broader impact, and I think Roger hit on it, which is we need international to have successful trade shows in general across our industry, both in terms of visitors that are buying American products and American companies wanting to sell internationally. It's absolutely critical. So a much larger story than just the revenues is the importance of international. For sure. But Roger also said that it's safe to travel, and I completely agree. This is my 2nd flight this week. I've got 3 more this week. We have a show in Tampa. It is very safe to travel. So I couldn't agree more with Roger's point that we need corporations and their general counsels to stop these policies that are not allowing people to travel for safety concerns. There should not be any safety concerns anymore.
No, I completely agree. I mean, you've certainly, held events already, where you've had, people, come in, safely, be able to do their business and, go back home, with no issues. Trade shows, I think, have from the beginning, I think we've all felt, other places had opened up, way before, we were able to, and at the end of the day, going to a trade show is like going to a mall, big wide open spaces, et cetera. So I'm glad we're finally there. Right. We're able to get these open. World of Concrete, obviously is opening today. We've had other ones, beforehand, but Tommy, I want to go to you just to talk about ECA a little bit. Can you tell us some of the things that you all are working on, right now?
Sure. Well, I think David just mentioned we're coming off of our ECA Legislative Action Day, which took place virtually this year. We had more than 170 folks from 25 states meeting with their policymakers, talking about what can be done here in Washington, D.C. to help jumpstart recovery and get people back to work. Because I think, like Herve mentioned or Roger mentioned earlier, it's all about getting people back to work. And we have these wonderful green shoots like World of Concrete today, but we need to see that in a much more sustained and much more consistent way coast to coast. So one of the things that we have been talking to policymakers about, and I know Roger and the folks at U.S. Travel have as well, is a bill called the Hospitality and Commerce Job Recovery Act, which would put forward some very, very important tax incentives for both attendees and exhibitors to come back to shows. Like Herve mentioned, we need folks at these shows to be able to conduct business. We've got more than 1.7 million exhibitors at our shows nationwide. Over 80% of those are small business. We need to get these folks back to doing business again. We need to connect buyers and sellers And then we need to support the venues and the show organizers as they get folks back together. And there are some broader measures in that bill that are also helpful to the broader travel and entertainment and hospitality sector that Roger can certainly go into. But we had a great opportunity to connect with everybody from Speaker Pelosi's team to Senator Majority Leader Schumer and Minority Leader McConnell last week. And I think all of them are really getting the message that while things are certainly improving, there's a lot more to be done, and there's a lot more that can be done up on Capitol Hill to help accelerate this recovery.
Yeah.
How many co-sponsors do we have now, Tommy?
I think in the House side, we're well over 80, so we've got nearly 1 in every 5 members of the House of Representatives who supports that bill, and we've got a great group of 7 folks in the Senate who, from various different parts of leadership, who are supporting it, and it's bipartisan. It is, 50-50 divide between Republicans and Democrats, so it doesn't really matter where you fall on the political spectrum. You can find something in this bill worthy of support, and many members of Congress already have.
I know I took part in the Legislative Action Day last week and spoke to, a couple senators and House reps here in Ohio, and just kind of walked them down the path of, if our convention center in downtown Toledo is closed, it's not just about the convention center, it's about the spaghetti warehouse down the street, that also had a lack of, their big lunch business, all year long, just to kind of, put it more into perspective. Because as you guys know, a lot of people don't understand, the impact of our industry, overall. So Roger,
that's exactly right. And if I could just, sorry, Rachel, for interrupting, but I think the point that Tommy makes is so important around the 80% of our customers are small businesses. And another point is that nearly half, I think it's 46%, exhibit at least one trade show per year. So when you really think about small businesses can't afford to have distributed sales and marketing teams all over the country. They absolutely need trade shows to return to business. And that's really what we're spending time with legislators understanding. Because I think people understand, of course, the impact to our industry, to the jobs in our business. But our point is actually significantly bigger than that. It is our industry, but it's more than that. It's also all small businesses across the U.S. And that's a really important point to get across.
Yeah, I agree. So Roger, within U.S. travel, what are some kind of, next things that you're looking at trying to get across the line?
Well, I think we've got to look beyond COVID. As I said, I think we're hitting the tipping point, and things are going to move fairly rapidly and opening up international, opening up trade shows. But we've got to look beyond to the future. One, to understand our infrastructure, the ability, not just roads, but air, the whole technological capability. We've got to get biometrics. One of the fortunate things with this pandemic is we had a lot of technology that enabled things to take place. And we really have, I think, as an industry, got people to understand the impact of this industry. Not just, we sometimes fall in the trap of just talking about the dollars to this industry. As I think as everyone else on the panel has pointed out, it goes way beyond that. You talk about the small businesses, but we've got to people understand that nothing happens in America unless people go to trade shows. Trade shows are adult education. They're the marketplace. And if someone's not there buying a product at a U.S. trade show, guess what? They're not buying that product. And so it's critical to so much of what we do. And I think we've got to get politicians and elected officials to understand this isn't just about our industry. It's about the total economy and jobs.
Right. Yeah, agreed. David, clearly in your viewpoint, with CISO, you've been, in the trenches, this whole, past year plus, along with Herve as chair of CISO and Doug past chair, where are your members at right now? Like what are they currently, really challenged with, just restarting in general and then going forward?
Well, obviously our members and the industry in general run the whole gamut. We've got little guys like my own business with that Stephanie and I run. We've got 6 events. She's actually in Myrtle Beach right now producing one of our events, a digital forensics conference that we run. And that's been going great. We're about 80% of what the event would have been or was in 2019. We've got a number of shows. We've got 6 events in the next 12 weeks, but luckily we don't have the 21 that Herve has to handle in August, but we've got a few. And then the larger companies you've seen in former markets right now, Opening Water Concrete, Obviously, it's not the size of what it would have been, and part of that is significantly impacted by the international blockade that we're having to deal with. Part of it is simply getting businesses ramped back up. But we are dealing with the uncertainty. Number one, that's been seriously improved in the last few weeks. I mean, literally, we've gone from overnight in many cities where they had no plan to suddenly being 100% open. In many cities, we haven't even had a staged reopening. That's wonderful to see, but of course, we don't turn shows around overnight. So we need, if in May we didn't have a plan, and in June 1st we had a plan, we're not going to produce an event June 2nd. So we will see, I think, in July, as Herve and others have said, in July and certainly August, we're going to see a substantial ramp up. What that's going to impact us on is we've got an awful lot of our partners, because we don't own carpet, we don't own buildings, we don't own electrical systems, we don't own any of that. And a lot of our partners are having to ramp up very quickly as well. The service contractors and the venues and the other service providers that had to furlough significant numbers of their staff are now having to try to find or replace them. And so these next months are going to be challenging for everybody. And we as organizers are working very closely with our partners to ensure that we all work together to get the events held as seamlessly and as effectively as possible.
Right. Herve, do you want to speak on that at all? I mean, 21 events, coming up in August, our suppliers have taken a tremendous, hit in the past year plus, on how you all are working with them to make sure your shows get floored.
Sure. I think it is a real issue in addition to the supplier side, but related is obviously labor. A lot of people got jobs in other industries when our industry was completely shut down. And so we are going to have to get a lot more creative in terms of how we're going to staff our own shows, even internally. And we've come up with some really interesting motivational systems for our people to go and attend shows, like all of our employees to go and attend shows, because we know that there will be a shortage of labor at the shows, and we're working with our partners to do the same. So real issues that we have ahead of us. We're very happy that things are moving in the right direction. They're not the size that they were, but slowly coming back. I'm optimistic about the future. It'll ramp up. They won't happen overnight, but we will get there. But we do have some hurdles to work through over the next few months for sure.
Roger, what about on the travel side? I mean, as you see these, honestly, in the last 24 hours on Facebook, with all the people I know that went to Las Vegas for the opening of World of Concrete, they showed pictures of packed planes, everybody's, all the planes, going out were pretty full, but, within the travel industry and hospitality especially, there's been a huge labor drain. What do you think is going to happen around that going forward in the next couple of months?
Yes, I think Herve spoke to one of the biggest challenges that we in the industry obviously understand, but I think people beyond don't understand. And so lack of labor is, they mentioned several reasons for that. But I know when hotels come back to 100% capacity, they're not going to be able to. Right now, when you look at hotels, when you look at restaurants and a lot of these small businesses, they can't find the people. And so therefore, even if they want to open 100% and a trade shows, come back, gangbusters, they're going to have trouble getting the room blocks and filling the hotels. So this labor thing we've got to really, as Herve said, rethink how we approach this whole staffing thing, because it is the underlying crisis that I think people are not focusing enough on, and we've got to really do something about it going forward.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm in another Facebook group all around the hospitality industry that has thousands of people in it. Now you've watched this past year and a half, the chatter back and forth, and, all the people who've ended up, needing to leave the industry, has been a tremendous amount, and even on the trade show side, we're gonna have an interesting, time with it. Tommy, just to go back to, sorry, David, did you want to say something?
Well, I was just going to add that what concerns many of us is the generational drop that we may lose, because there's old farts like me that have been around it 30 years. I'm not planning to ever look at another industry, but the millennials and the Gen Zers that may have only been in the industry for a few years, and experience the COVID challenges, they may give up on our industry and find something else, and that could be a whole generational divide that we may lose. And we need those ongoing new thinkers and new participants of every generation in our industry, and so that concerns many of us more than anything else.
I completely agree. Does anyone want to add anything on to that point? The generational.
I think it's also our industry is labor and time intensive. I mean, you think of people that work in trade shows, how much they're away from their families, how much they travel, and this generational divide that David mentioned is going to be a problem where people are going to say, I'm not sure I'm going to work the hours that the people in our industry have, and the time and the travel, and that's going to work against us also.
Yeah,
we were lucky,
Sorry.
Rachel. Our team. We're a small business. Stephanie and I run a small company with 12 events and 15 employees, and we were able to keep all of them on staff throughout the COVID crisis, which was lucky for us. But they've always worked from home. So our business will be 10 years old in January, and from the start, we've been a home-based, office-based, flexible work environment. And and 2 years ago, most of the large companies didn't see how they could ever envision that kind of scenario. And frankly, we liked the fact that we were a little more unique. Unfortunately, we've lost that uniqueness now because everybody's realized that they can actually work on a flexible work environment, and they can allow people to work from home. And there are different, more flexible structures out there. And the value proposition for employees will hopefully improve from this. They will lose those hour-long commutes. In many cases, they will be able to spend more flexible time and go to their kids' soccer matches and what have you. And I believe that's actually probably one of the more positive things that will come out of this.
Oh, I can see that for sure. I know we don't have too much time left, so Tommy, I thought maybe you and I know Herve, with your position within ICA could just talk about, perhaps what some of the advocacy that could be done by the people. What could we be doing?
No, absolutely. We just came off Advocacy Day, but, advocacy is not a day-long activity. Advocacy is something that needs to be part of who we are, 365 days a year. And I have the honor of getting to channel and help amplify some of that. But really, the folks who are watching today and the folks who are in the industry really tell us that stories. It's that level of impact that's going to be able to help lawmakers, whether that's here in Washington, D.C. or anywhere across the country, make that impact. So I would please encourage folks to visit the Exhibitions and Conferences Alliance website. It's ecalliance.us, or take a look at the Go Live Together campaign website at golivetogether.com. There are opportunities for folks to receive information. There are definitely opportunities for them to email their members of Congress and make their voice heard. Just because we were virtually meeting with lawmakers last week, those are opportunities that can be amplified and followed on upon anytime at your convenience. So we would just encourage, I know folks are very busy as things are reopening and we're getting back to business, but please keep advocacy in mind. Please keep your opportunity to add your voice to the chorus, because it is absolutely critical. The more that policymakers hear from you, the better they're going to understand our industry and the better they're going to be able to be responsive to our industry. So
Great.
We appreciate everybody who's done it like you, and encourage everybody else to get involved as well.
Absolutely. Roger, do you want to add anything on from the U.S. travel side?
Yeah, I think there's two things that very positively have come out of this. One is our industry is more united and together. I mean, I'm much closer to the trade show industry than I was a year ago, much closer to the airline industry I was a year ago. And the other thing is this virtual world we've lived in. We've all been on virtual conferences of 10,000 people. And I think it's going to give us the opportunity to stretch the audience at a trade show or convention and get that audience saying, next year I want to be there in person. So I think there's a couple of hidden pluses will come out of this.
And we've definitely reiterated the need for in-person, face-to-face as being the lifeblood of business.
Yes, I will definitely say that having planned this entire virtual event, which is actually hybrid, to be exact, because we just had Danica live in Las Vegas. We've got Doug in, London with all these people, but I would much rather be sitting on a stage with the four of you, having this, chat then. And I know we'll be getting back to that. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your support of this event. We've raised, just so you know, over $27,000 so far. Our goal was, Doug's goal was $24,000. So we've now raised it to $34,000. We're just going to keep, ongoing. But Roger, David, Tommy, and Herve, we just deeply appreciate your time today and for being a part of this. And hope to see you in person sometime very soon.
No, thanks for your hard
Our
work,
pleasure,
Rachel.
but if-
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.
Wanted to thank you and Doug for your leadership as well. What you're doing here is just outstanding for the industry. So thank you very much.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
everybody.